known as. So our story is pretty simple. Like last March, when the pandemic hit in full, we found ourselves as MBA students doing online classes with more time on our hands and really just a desire to help those organizations and people who are struggling to survive the pandemic. So first, what that meant was we had a Google Doc, we had a bunch of friends, we had some projects from professors, and we just got to work. We started just helping these people and organizations that needed support. What we didn't expect is how much demand there was, both from the community and supply of students who, like us, wanted to use their time to help organizations. And what we mean there is like really just using that MBA skill set to support organizations who don't normally get access to the kind of talent that you all offer. So now we're nearly a year in. The pandemic's still going on, which I don't think any of us expected, but we know that the need still exists. And there's still so many students like yourself who want to make service a core part of their MBA experience. So we thought, why stop at COVID-19? Carrie, can you go next slide? Thanks. So our mission is really twofold. So we're a platform that works with two different groups, right? Students like yourselves, and then organizations. So our mission first is one, to build capacity in under-resourced organizations. These are nonprofits, small businesses, government entities that just don't have the resources to tap into the kind of MBA talent that you all offer. And the second side is with all of us as MBA students. We want to create a generation of leaders who serve. One of the things that we believe as an organization is that service is not integral enough to the MBA experience as it should be. And we're hoping to fill that gap. We're hoping that through all the work that everyone puts in this organization and all the volunteers, that we can make service a bigger part of the MBA experience. Okay. So who we are, we're all of you. We're a movement of now over 1,500 MBA students from over 22 MBA programs across the country. We also have programs internationally. And we really just believe that leadership requires service and that our skills can really improve our communities. And we'll talk a lot tonight about how we can actually go do those things. So last thing I'll leave you with, a couple numbers, just because I love numbers and I think it's useful to ground us. We've had, like I said, over 1,500 students who have signed up from 22 MBA programs. That still feels absolutely crazy to say, but it's awesome, and we're looking to grow even further. We've worked with over 1,200 organizations from the service team and the strike team. We think like over 70% of those are minority-owned businesses, which is a focus of ours. But still, 1,200 organizations is just incredible, and we want to do a lot more. And what does it all add up to? It's 5,500 hours of more of pro bono support from students like yourselves to these under-resourced organizations. So all in there, but I just want to say thank you for being here. Get involved in the organization. Let us know if you have feedback, ways we can make this better for you, because in the end, we are you. We are the volunteers who are just trying to make this organization and make service an integral part of the MBA experience.
Perfect. Scott, thank you so much for that. I feel like I'll be saying a lot tonight as I transition our speakers. And I will say, I actually think some of those numbers may be a little even dated. I know I put them on the slide for you, but I think some we can actually see is more hours of support, more small businesses, which is super exciting. Okay, so as some of you may know how to get involved, others may need a bit of a refresher, or maybe it's your first time learning about the MBA response. So actually want to walk through a bit what we do. For our new students, this is probably an introduction to our service team and small business strike teams. For existing volunteers on the line, hopefully this is a good refresher. So the first thing that I want to say is that the MBA response is a single organization that does offer two ways for you to get involved. However, you can do both of those things at any one time. You can just do one or just do the other, but you should think as a single organization that you can flow freely between our two offerings. Our first is the service team, which is students form small teams across our chapter schools, and they work on bespoke consulting projects. Think 1 to 3 months, approximately no more than 10 hours per week, working directly with a small business who can support one or multiple MBA students across a wide variety of function and industries. Right now, our service team is limited to our chapter schools given some technology constraints. I'll talk about who our chapter schools are later on if you don't already know, but When we get there, if you're not already a chapter school and are interested in the service team, please reach out. We can either look at starting a chapter or looking for ways for you to still volunteer with the service team if you're interested. Our small business strike team, on the other hand, is really quick hit support. So one-on-one coaching, immediate support to our small businesses. Think, 2 hours with the business. Maybe you spend 1 hour on the phone with them and then 1 hour researching. We'll hear from some speakers who've supported both the service team and small business strike team to discuss their experiences with them, but wanted to go a bit deeper into each of them. So our small business strike team offering right now, given the third round of the Paycheck Protection Program from the US government has just opened up, we are shifting all of our focus for the small business strike team to the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP supports. In the future, we will open it back up to the online presence assessment and just general Ask an MBA questions. Again, this is your 2-hour quick hit support projects. And then your service team offerings are, as I said, these bespoke consulting projects that are across the board, across industries. Here are just some of the types of problems you'll consider working on: growth strategies, marketing and branding, financial analysis, market research, project management, data analytics, operations, vision and mission articulation. And we are next going to hear from some of our small businesses that we've supported across these two areas, as well as some students. But before we get in, I do just want to reiterate, as I just go back to this slide, you can be a member of our service team and our small business strike team together. If times are busy and you think, oh, this month I only have 2 hours a week, I only want to do the small business strike team, that's also fine. But again, a single organization, just 2 ways for you to get involved at any one time. So with that, I'm actually going to move into hear from some of our participants. I have on the line 2 small business owners and 2 student volunteers, one from the small business strike team and one from a service team who volunteered with those 2 to speak about their experiences. I'm going to actually stop sharing so we can kind of see their faces a bit. And let me see how to do this. I'm using, for those who don't know, Zoom on like the website, so I'm not as good at using it. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Apurva Prashrika, and I'm so sorry if I said your name or mispronounced it incorrectly there. She is a small business that we have supported in the past and is going to talk a little bit about her organization and how we were able to provide impact. Hopefully this will give a bit of a taste of what the kind of projects you might be able to volunteer with if you haven't volunteered with us before. So Apurva, I'll pass it over to you.
Hi everyone, Apurva Pasricha here, and I want to also just for the record mention that the small business we're talking about here is the city of San Jose. That was actually one of the first, I think we were one of the very first organizations that the MBA response had a chance to support, and it was one of the most helpful things that supported us throughout the pandemic. So I specifically was the Deputy Director of Technology and Innovation with the Mayor's Office, and we were really keen on finding different ways technology could support the pandemic response. I had a team of incredible students, a team of 3 incredible students from Harvard who helped us in a number of different ways. They were doing the medium-term project with us. And the group supported me and my team for about 3 months. And it was actually, I think there were a couple of things I would highlight about it. First was the flexibility of the students. I thought that it was incredible that they were willing to come in. And as you know, with a city government, things priorities change on a day-to-day basis. And so what we would do was meet weekly to identify what is the problem statement that we need support on, whether it be data analysis, whether it be doing some stakeholder interviews, whatever it was. The team was ready to dive right in. In fact, there was a point where we were kind of thinking about the city charter that we had and wanted to understand, whether there have been cities in the country that have changed their city charter. And one of our MBA volunteers happened to be from a state and a city that had done that. And so she reached out to her public health department the next day and did an informational interview with them. And so, it was incredible. But then the second one that the students were really helpful on were helping transition our small businesses in the community online. So the MBA student team actually created an entire playbook for small business owners in San Jose to kind of think through what are the different steps that they need to take in order to transition online to sustain themselves for a little bit longer. And so the students had an opportunity to do a focus group with business owners in San Jose. The business owners found that to be one of the most helpful things that the city did for them, and none of that would have been possible without the support of the MBA students and the team that was helping us out. So really grateful and had an incredible experience. So happy to share any additional information that would be useful to you all, but really a big fan of the program. And I know that the mayor spoke very, very highly of it as well for the entire team. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It gets me excited, especially because I wasn't there at the beginning. I just was, joined a couple months ago. So great to hear from someone so early on. Next, I'm going to pass it over to Perry Bolts. On the other hand, we actually have a small business who recently posted a project on Catalent. So I'll talk a bit more what Catalent is later on in the organization. But this is actually an example of a project that is looking to staff up right now. So really what we have available on our platform, and wanted to highlight a new project.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Perry Bolts. I am the founder of Eclectic Co., which is 2 retail shops in Colorado Springs. We are a co-op market that houses about 80 artists between the 2 locations. And yeah, we're just all about local, sustainable handmade. We made it through the pandemic and actually had a really great holiday season. Opened this second shop during November of this year. And we're really excited when we learned about this program. We are always looking for ways to increase engagement with the community. And so, yeah, I found the application process really easy. I came up with a framework for the work that we were hoping to get done. 3 pillars of customer service and really building the pillars of our community. So those pillars being direct sales to customers, brand recognition and storytelling, and attracting and retaining talent. So kind of outlined in our project is those 3 pillars. And we are just looking for students to help us really build those, make those robust, and just find new ways to fulfill those 3 avenues of our business. So if that speaks to you, we received 1 application already. We're really excited to talk to that student, but we are certainly seeking other input.
Perfect. So Will, if you already know, you can go pitch for that project on Catalent right now. For those of you who haven't walked through Catalent, that's okay, because we're going to do it today, and you'll be able to see that project as well after this call. Thank you so much. So our next speaker is a student volunteer, Junior Lewis from Ross. He is actually a Ross alum and was a very big participant of our small business strike team in the past. So really excited to pass it off to him to speak a bit about his experiences supporting that.
Cool. Hey, everybody. So my name is Junior Ross alum. I graduated from Ross in May. Currently a consultant at BCG in the Philadelphia office. So I started volunteering with, MBA Response, now MBA Fight COVID, in April, around like the time COVID first hit. It was a great experience. Worked with over 30 or 40 businesses, most of them in the Detroit area. I think one of the greatest experiences was just talking to the businesses and giving them help. I know upon signing up, trying to get friends to sign up, a lot of the reservations people had was, well, I don't know anything about consulting. Like, I come from a finance background before business school. So folks would say, oh, I don't know anything about finance. I could tell you right now, you don't need to know anything about anything. Just have like just an open mind and inquisitiveness to help folks, because a lot of these small businesses, they just have very general questions that, they're just trying to survive the day-to-day that they just don't have time to look up. And at least with the new round of PPP right now is going through mostly CDFIs. A lot of these CDFIs have capacity constraints, so they can't hold the hands of these small like they want to. I think that's the void that MBA Response and you guys are filling. And I know Hunter said in the beginning it was about 2 hours. To be honest, I probably never spent more than an hour on the phone with a small business. Not that it was a bad thing, like just the questions were very easy. And I think one of the biggest support was the Slack channel, the Small Business Strike Team, where if you did have a difficult question, you had about 200 students there to help you out with it. and that made it real easy. And a lot of time conversations went beyond PPP as well. So sometimes you did get to like help them with their business strategy. Like one one example I can give you is I was talking to a nonprofit in Detroit. They were a soup kitchen, and one of the biggest issues that they were having were people couldn't, because of COVID, people were just nervous to come volunteer. So they were just trying to find a way how to get volunteers in the door because they only had like 3 employees, and those employees were cooking the food. They did have a system where people who also collected food from the soup kitchen would also be volunteers, but the problem was that they were kind of iffy. So sometimes they showed up, sometimes they didn't. But along with the food, the nonprofit also gave out clothes, furniture, et cetera. So I just spent about an hour on the phone with the lady who ran the nonprofit, and we were just like brainstorming different ways to get volunteers in the door. Then we ultimately landed on some type of reward program for the folks who actually do use the nonprofit for other services, where if you come volunteer for the soup kitchen, you get points, and then you could then use those points towards when they get clothes, furniture, et cetera. And I don't have any experience in nonprofit, never worked in a soup kitchen or anything like that before. It was just literally having somebody to talk through things with her that made it super helpful. She was really grateful for that. Like, kept in contact with her for a bit while I was still in the Detroit, Ann Arbor area. So it's a great experience, super easy. It's not as hard as it sounded. The first time I tried to get on the phone with the business, I spent like 3 hours doing research on PPP. And then by the time you reach the 5th call, you just get on the phone because you know you're probably gonna get the same 5 questions over and over. But it's still a great rewarding experience, and I wish you guys the best with it.
Thanks, Junior. I see Scott Cara also nodding along. He was also a big small business strike team volunteer who helped a lot of the paycheck protection. So I think he also agrees. So finally, our last student speaker of the night is Trevor Brightman. He is a current volunteer actually supporting the MBA Response J-Term. The J-Term was a group of about 30 students and 6 small businesses that were going through the month of January because I know a lot of your MBA programs winter break was pushed out. So Trevor, I'll pass it over to you to talk a bit about your experience. And Trevor is working on a service team project.
Thank you, Carrie. And hey there, all you cool cats and kittens. As Carrie said, my name is Trevor. I go to UMass Eisenberg School of Management, MBA student. I see at least 4 of my cohort mates here, which is awesome to see. I got involved because I had this opportunity in the winter here, and I like helping people. I'm an AmeriCorps alum. That was one of the best decisions I ever made back in my younger years. I'm currently engaged with a nonprofit which is working on a project called Prevention Derivatives, which is where they envision a preventative model which essentially privatizes preventative measures for natural disasters in a derivative fund, which would provide financial returns for stakeholders while saving property, lives, and money. So if that sounds kind of complicated, it is. But while I can't run financial forecasts in 2 weeks or create a research report, there are some things I could bring to the table. What I can do is help polish their communication. I did so by doing 3 things: interviewing some contacts I have about strategy advice and condensing that down into a little 2-page report, helping them write a 3-minute animation script with some storyboards, and doing some proofing of a 6-page document. So those are my skills, and that's what I'm doing. The good news is, I'm going to echo what Junior said. You know, sometimes your ignorance is your superpower. Asking questions, trying to zoom out, see the big picture. Sometimes people are too close to the problem and they need those fresh eyes. So don't worry about not being an expert in whatever you're assigned to. That's okay. And I jotted this down. The worst thing that can happen is maybe they don't use your ideas, but even that is helpful, because by posting a do not enter sign at the beginning of a dead end, then they don't waste time, effort, and money pursuing something that might not work. So, you know, at the end here in a couple of weeks, they're going to have some polished messaging. And what I'm going to have is another page in my portfolio for LinkedIn, which I'm going to post in like a week, experience and knowledge about consulting and in this field. I'm going to have recommendations from my contact Bobby, adding credibility and authority to what I try to do next. and just the fulfillment of doing something positive for somebody. So I also want to echo what Carrie said before. If you're here, you're qualified, you can definitely do it. And also going back to what Hailing said, you know, that goofy intro I said that for a reason. You know, we're here to have fun too, right? And bring some positivity to the world while getting some good stuff done. So I don't want to take up too much time. I'm going to put my contact info in the chat. Love to hear from anybody or everybody. And thanks for your time.
Trevor, thank you so much. I will say his project, I was on the phone with the small business for a while. It's super interesting topic, but definitely, exciting and complex. We have, ranging from, I would say, retail stores and helping think about business plans to thinking about preventative derivatives. So really run the gamut of different types of projects. And I think I also do want to echo something as a fellow consultant myself, what Trevor said, is just bringing fresh eyes to a problem is one of the most beneficial things that you can do as an MBA student, helping small businesses. So I am actually going to share my screen again, and we are going to hop back into this amazing presentation that I'm sure everyone is loving. If I can find it. And next, I'm actually going to pass it over to our CEO, Annie Russo. For those who haven't met her, she's going to introduce herself a bit and tell you a bit about what to expect in 2021 for the MBA response. And also, you get to meet your CEO, which is super exciting.
Thanks, Carrie.
Annie. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, and so before I introduce myself, I actually want to start with a quote from my time working with the Polsky Center for Entrepreneurship at Chicago Booth. It's a little bit long. I'm going to read it. My kitchen supply store just received a $10,000 grant. It's because of you and your work with the consulting team that included building the foundations of a new website, social media structure 101, and a business planning revamp last summer that I was able to present such a strong application. I will be forever grateful for your care and leadership of my dream. The announcement of the grant is below. It's also incredible that we were just featured on the local news this weekend. 2021 is loving us with an incredible start. So my name is Annie Russo, and coaching that team of students who worked on this project was truly one of my favorite experiences of 2020. I was in kind of a consulting partner type role, advising the team and challenging them to think differently as they served this brilliant entrepreneur. I'd had a really tough year also, who didn't? The consulting firm I was headed to rescinded all their MBA offers. So being in that consulting environment, working with small businesses, gave me that sense of purpose and impact that I really was looking for during that first summer of COVID. So I'm thrilled to be in this leadership role with a startup social enterprise where our core services do exactly that. Connect MBA students who provide care and leadership of people's dreams with businesses who want to partner on ideas. Our focus on connecting business owners who might otherwise not have easy access to support or pathways to capital is something I'm really passionate about. And my background across social impact, consulting, and startups gives me a unique lens across those facets of our work. As I mentioned, I recently finished my MBA at Booth, and I went to Northeastern for my undergrad and first master's. Like Trevor, I'm also an AmeriCorps alum, and I've worked at several fantastic nonprofits, both in strategy consulting and in industry, with a number of early stage startups as well across smart home IoT and HR tech. And I have a special love of food and beverage from my early career in small local grocery stores and restaurants. I don't know if anybody else has waited tables here, but also at Whole Foods and most recently to the beverage company that I founded. Carrie, can you go to the next slide? Because this isn't really about me. This is about the team. It's about our student consultants and the work we do in support of small businesses. So you've seen these stats, but some of them, but to date, we've raised nearly $500,000. We've hired 7 staff, including Carrie and Hunter, some full-time, some contract. And alongside our founders, these are the people who've added structure to this amazing mission. Early on, we were focused on rapid response for the immediate economic impacts of COVID-19, but we've evolved over just a few months with a goal to help small businesses local governments like the city of San Jose, and nonprofits, with a goal of helping those who might not have otherwise had access to some of the resources others do have. So as we form our first strategic plan, we want to build our impact by focusing on these 6 areas. Haling gave you a preview, and I'm excited to share that as part of our work with the Harlem Children's Zone, we're working to develop trainings to help our volunteers better understand the experience of small business owners and nonprofit leaders working in local communities. We want to get better at measuring the impact we're having on small businesses, better understand the needs and experience of our students and the partners we serve, deepen our reach and relationship with MBA programs, continue piloting new initiatives like the J-term, and we'll be adding staff to help support all of that. It's a really exciting time for the MBA response. And finally, I want to celebrate the amazing volunteer team leads, clinic leads, and others who've really stepped up to take leadership roles in this volunteer organization. Can you go to the next slide, Carrie? So these are our partner programs. If your logo is up here, I'm so excited. If it's not, I'm sure it will be soon. And I'll pass it over to Carrie to continue on. Thank you.
Yeah. Annie, thank you so much. That was amazing. So these are our list of current partner chapters. I love how Annie put it. If you don't see your name up here, hopefully you'll be up here soon. Please reach out. We would love to start a chapter at your school or at your MBA program. And also wanted to introduce your team leads if you haven't already met them yet. They probably were sending you emails about this event. Some of these faces are new, some are existing team leads or have been team leads for the past couple months / year. So across all of our programs, we have some amazing team leads who couldn't do it without each and every one of you. So thank you so much for that. Just put together a bit about, understanding like what your team lead can do, what we can do. Team lead is going to help communicate projects, support you in finding Catalan project service team or the small business strike team, facilitate some type of community building, and be there to answer your general and project questions. The executive team, along with your team leads, are here to support you in building a community, finding projects, making service a part of your MBA experience. So team leads, thank you again so much. Definitely wanted to take the time to publicly thank you for all the hard work you have done and will help us do in 2021. So exciting, we get to do some breakout rooms now where, as I said, calling them mix and meets. Here are just some questions to get you guys started. Love for each of you to introduce your name, MBA program. For new students, what are you excited most about MBAR? And also, if you haven't heard, MBAR is what we're calling the MBA response. I'm giving Annie credit, although she had said she heard it somewhere else before. So sorry, whoever I'm not giving credit to. And existing students, what's your favorite MBAR memory? So, okay, great. I see we have everyone starting to come back. I think I'll give everyone another 2 or 3 seconds before I hop in. Hopefully that was a fun way to get to know some new volunteers, for new students to get to know some existing students and volunteers, and vice versa. I hope everyone had a good 5 minutes. So next we are going to do our technology walkthrough. So as you know, we have 2 offerings, the service team and the small business strike team. And given the needs of these small businesses, we actually use 2 different technology platforms for them. And that's so we're able to meet the needs of the small businesses here. It does make it a bit more complex for the students, but does allow us to serve a larger and wider variety of organizations. So the service team will use Catalent. You will register on Catalent, and we have Julia on the line to do a walkthrough of that. Before that, I wanted to quickly discuss the small business strike team. So since the small business strike team projects are such quick turnaround and oftentimes turnkey projects, we do a matching process through a Google form. Volunteers who want to provide PPP support should complete the sign-up form at mbaresponse.org/PPP. Right now, when you go through the small business strike team and actually do the intake form, which you will be able to find on that URL that I listed, and we'll be emailing out, as well as maybe Annie, if you want to post it in the chat. This MBAresponse.org/PPP lets us know that you are available right now to staff for the Paycheck Protection Program. You'll be matched with a small business, sometimes within 24 hours, or sometimes pretty quickly after, and other times maybe a bit of a wait, depending on how many small businesses we have waiting for support. You just fill out the Google form, it's pretty quick, and then you'll be matched, as I said, and then you should reach out within 24 hours. Unfortunately, the director of the Small Business Strike Team isn't able to be on the line, Hunter, but she wanted me to reiterate that there are a ton of resources for students who are supporting the Paycheck Protection Program. There's Slack groups, there's material that's already been created. So you will be able to get quickly caught up on what is the current rulings on all things Paycheck Protection Program. So do not worry if this is even your first time hearing about it, it won't be an issue. So pretty easy, go online, fill out the intake form. And as other small business strike programs open up later, we'll be reaching out about that. But right now, sign up if you want to support now. So Julia, I will pass it over to you to talk a bit about Catalent and how to actually register and pitch for projects for our service team. I'm going to go through some slides and then I'll give you the access to share your screen to do an actual tech walkthrough.
Awesome. So hello, everybody. My name is Julia Flanagan, and I am a product manager at Catalent. So it's nice to meet all of you. I'm going to give just a brief overview about Catalent, give some context, and then I can jump into the app to actually give you guys a quick walkthrough on what your experience will look like. So at its core, Catalent is a software company that helps organizations get from strategy to execution faster. And we do that by what we say, connecting the right people to the right work. And being extremely relevant to the MBA world, Catalent was founded in 2014 as actually a project out of an HBS course, and it began as a marketplace of MBA students that were matched with small businesses, so really similar to what you guys are working on right now for project-based work, and at the time it was called Hourly Nerd. It's evolved into two different business lines. Our marketplace has actually grown to comprise of about 75,000 independent experts and boutique firms, working now with large enterprise clients. And we also have our second line of business, which is our software offering, which is what the team here is going to be using right now. So to get started, you will be receiving emails to create an account, and that will just bring you into complete your profile, which is super similar to uploading your LinkedIn resume. You can do it either manually or just quickly upload your LinkedIn resume, which makes it a lot easier and smooth. And completing your profile, getting ideally to 100%, you will then be able to browse opportunities that small businesses have been posting and kind of begin to search on what you think might be a good fit for you.
So I'm going to stop sharing now, Julia. And then you'll be able to share your screen of Catalent.
Perfect. One moment. I am going to be using Kate, who spoke a little bit earlier, her profile, just to give you guys a really good real-life example of what an MBA student's profile looks like. So starting with Kate's dashboard, this is kind of your landing homepage. You'll notice that we have some new opportunities, your account settings on the right. You can navigate different views and main kind of experience on the side nav on the left. But I'm going to start with the profile, as I just mentioned, by clicking Edit. You can go in, and as I just kind of alluded to earlier, the quickest way to get your profile up and running is by uploading your LinkedIn resume. So you can save your LinkedIn resume, export it on LinkedIn into a PDF file and upload it here. And then if you click through all these, they'll all get pulled through into here. As you can see, Kate has all this information filled out. One area I'd love to just emphasize is the skills. We recommend adding 5 to 10, and you can actually level them out. So depending on your expertise in that specific skill set, you have 4 different levels. So this will just emphasize the algorithm when small businesses are creating work and looking for certain skill sets. Our algorithm will be able to match that really well the more skills that you provide. Then we have another part I wanted to show, which is updating your availability. So when you decide you are ready to kind of begin your experience through Catalent, you can actually get pretty specific around your availability, whether it's certain days of the week. Maybe you just took on something that you're not available right now, but you'll be available in a couple of months. So you're able to make that pretty customized. in your availability section right here. And that is how you create your profile. It's pretty straightforward. And you can also edit your summary. You can have kind of like a fun tagline of things you're interested in working on. You can include any personal information, of course, a photo, and your location, things like that. So after creating your profile, the next thing you are obviously here to do is browse for opportunities. You'll see here, this is kind of a prompted one, but in Kat's, Kat is someone I'll allude to in a second. Kate's experience, you'll see just different opportunities that have been posted and kind of rolling and being posted on her dashboard under the opportunities section. You'll see that it actually goes both ways. So small businesses are able to reach out to you if they see your profile and think you might be a great fit. So you'll get invitations potentially. You'll have opportunities that you might engage on. So that's what that means. And then connections, meaning you provided a pitch and they had a conversation and you guys kind of agree that you might be a good match to begin the work. And then of course, active projects and completed projects. If you're looking for anything specific, you can go into skills and kind of narrow down from there. And then if you are interested in a piece of work, what you would do here is you can bookmark it, but pitching would be your first step. And here you essentially just express interest, saying, this is something that I might be interested in learning more about. And submitting a pitch will provide an email to the small business owner, and then they will likely set up an introductory call. And if you guys have a great phone call and you realize the availability, the skill set, and the interest match, you can kind of begin work from there. And let's see. That kind of covers the whole process. I don't know if anyone has any immediate questions. What I was going to also add is that Kat Adams is my colleague at Catalent, who's on our CX team, and she'll be your kind of first line for any question support. I can put her email in this chain, and she would be happy to run through this. There are also materials that go through all of this in more detail that she'll be probably, I don't know if it's Carrie or Kat that will be sharing this out. But yeah, that's a quick run through, and Kat will be available for any questions.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to, I know we don't have, I will stay on for Q&A, but just would love to, talk about quick next steps in the last minute. New students, I'll be sending out these new volunteers, I'll be sending out these office hours of Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday of next week. And the following week, and you'll be able to ask any questions there. But you should create an account on Catalent by going to mbaresponse.org, and you can click volunteer in the upper right-hand corner, or you can go to this link here, which I'll be sending out to everyone. And if you're interested in doing the Paycheck Protection Program, you can sign up at mbaresponse.org/PPP. Again, I'll send that out. Current volunteers, please go look on Catalent, pitch for new projects. We had some cool ones posted over the last month. And also sign up for the Small Business Strike Team at mbaresponse.org/PPP. Again, I'll send all this out, so do not worry. And I am happy to stay on the line. I know we're 7 minutes over, so thank you for those of you who stayed and answer any questions. But if you have no questions, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We will have a recording of this, but again, if you liked it so much, feel free to join us on Thursday to hear the same similar information again. But I hope everyone has a great night. So thank you, and I will be staying on for questions.